Tamily. Welcome to episode 140. Our guest today will be Kristen. I like to call her January because her IG name is January and everything after. Her name is Kristen, and she will be connecting with us in just a second. Hello!
Hey!
Welcome, Kristen. Thank you for being interview 140.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to get to know you a little bit better. And we will, of course, ask some planned questions, but we'll also take questions in the chat. So anyone watching can type in anytime, and we'll make sure to scroll through and ask you those as well. But let's get started with our first and favorite question, which is, when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
Okay, so this has always been like, okay, hold on one second.
We gotta have it. Get ready.
So long before this was like a TAM account, which it's weird to think it's a TAM account because it started as like a weight loss accountability account. But now it's primarily TAM. I just need to like go ahead and say that. So it was like a weight loss accountability account, and I followed mostly like weight loss people who inspired me. And then I also followed so Natalie Westbrook, who I absolutely love. She's an incredible artist, and I followed her So Long Squarefish IG account. And this was still when I was kind of on my personal account. And I remember her sharing, it was January 2019, and I was kind of in the middle of my weight loss journey, and she shared the 2-week free trial. And I remember she wrote something like, and for those artist friends of mine who stalk my So Long Squarefish account, like, check out the free trial happening. So I was like, okay, I think, I was down 90 pounds at that point. And so I was kind of ready for something else besides walking, because that's what I primarily did for a good 10 months. Mm-hmm. And so I tried it, and I didn't tell her that I tried it. I just saw that, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I actually recorded myself, which I don't know why I did that. Like, I've shared it a couple of times, but yeah, I couldn't get through it. Like, it was just a little too much at that point. And I think where I had so much neglect of my body and inactivity, my body was just like not accustomed to being like down on my hands and on my knees. Like, it felt really weird, and really just so uncomfortable. And so I thought, okay, I'm definitely interested in this, but it's something that I think I want to come back to maybe after I've lost a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So I did, and it was in April 28th, and that's coming up, so that'll be my 2-year period. That's when I kind of officially started, and I did reach out to her at that point, and I was like, okay, so I want to know more like about Tracy Anderson method, she's so incredible. She had so many suggestions for me and so much advice, and I still kind of go to her if I need to ask something. So she kind of recommended precision toning, and I did that for like 3 months, which would like kill me now. And I remember you wrote a comment after I first started posting, which wasn't until like June. I would do stories, but I wouldn't actually post. And you wrote something like, I bet your thighs are thanking you or something. And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, I get it. Like, after, you go on to like the mat work. Mm-hmm. That was intense.
Yeah. Precision toning is very intense.
So intense. That's a tough one, but it was good. And I think it prepared me. So then I decided to try Meta, but where I'd been doing precision toning and it was an hour, I just kind of needed a little bit more than the 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was like August that I jumped into streaming. But yeah, that's kind of how and when.
Mm-hmm. So did you start with beginner in streaming and then go to intermediate, or how did it go?
I did start with beginner, and I think I may have done that for a month, possibly, and then I moved on to intermediate. And it wasn't until I think a couple months into intermediate when I added on the ankle weights. It's all been like a very slow process, and it's been good for me. It's just slowly evolved. Like,
That's really like, I mean, different for everyone, but it's really good when you can do it that way and get it to where you can handle it, and you just continue to evolve with what you do and where it is and all of that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I know different things work for different people, but that seems to it just is like a comfort level for me where I've had to kind of go through these different processes to feel comfortable enough to try something else and then add this. Or it's been a good learning challenge or good learning process and challenge.
So especially since you already were in a weight loss journey before you started, what kind of results did you see once you were doing the method?
Right. So I had been walking for like 10 months, and that was really all I could do. So results, man, oh, goodness. I mean, physically, there have been a lot of results, but I think bigger than that, like it's been so many more results, like emotionally and personally for me, that it's hard to even put into words. But I'm just a more relaxed, and I'm like a super anxious person. Like I have a lot of anxiety generally, and so it's been like a kind of an anxiety pill almost for me, an anxiety reducer,
Yeah.
and a stress relief. And that's why I enjoyed walking, because it kind of gave me that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like when I first started my account and people would put like, oh, I don't work out for, my physical health. I work out for my mental health. And I'm like, whatever, like I roll, like you're crazy, but I get it now. Like I totally get it. And I think you have to kind of take time for yourself and really get connected to maybe be able to realize the effects, because it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It takes a while, and it takes a while for your body to move the way you want it to, and for it to connect with your mind. And I would say that's probably like the biggest result is just I'm happier, I'm more relaxed, I'm less anxious. I don't fear things like I used to as much. I mean, I still do, because I don't know if that's part of me or not, but it's gotten a lot better. So I'm more kind of at ease with myself, and the way I move just through the day with my body is different too. Like I'm coming from a very, inactive place. So it's weird to move through, like going upstairs is like with such ease now, like just as an example. So kind of very small little things that maybe we don't think about that were just the most terrifying to me before.
Well, and like you said, being at ease with yourself, that's something that, I think it's a journey and it's like an evolution, but becoming just comfortable completely physically and knowing like what you can do, and not being winded of going up steps, like those are huge physical achievements that people don't always necessarily realize. And it's just the connectedness too, like the way that this method works. I mean, maybe that happens in other methods, of course I wouldn't know because I don't do them, but it seems to me like it happens the most in this method.
No, I think you're totally right. And I posted this a couple of times. It's that horrible before picture of me where I have like gray pants and like a black t-shirt, and I'm just sitting there like so miserable. And I was taken at like a CrossFit boot camp, and I'd had my son like I think 9 months earlier, and I was like, okay, I'll try this thing out. I didn't know about Tracy Anderson method or anything at that point. And it was the most like horrific, terrifying, like scary thing. And I didn't finish it.
Mhm. Well, I wouldn't either. Probably not even right now.
That was awful. Like, who wants to be yelled at?
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. I don't even want people to talk to me. Um, well, we have a question for you. I'm just trying to read it. Um, from Lauren. She said that obviously she's a huge fan of your challenges. Could you talk about how challenges motivate you, especially the TAM to elections challenge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think challenges, yeah, I've always been really excited about the challenges. Even before I did Tracy Anderson method, I would do like walking challenges or running challenges. I think it's just a good. If I feel like I'm starting to like derail a little bit, it just kind of helps get me back on track and keep me motivated. And I'm very goal oriented, so it's just the way I'm wired, I think. Like, I need to have a goal or something to look forward to, or like there's an end date. And at this point, like in this challenge, I'm going to treat myself to, like a hoodie or, just something, just to kind of keep me going. But it's honestly not, at this point, it's not that hard to do because I'm so used to moving like every day that the challenge is if they're like, okay, I need to add something else that's actually going to challenge me than just moving because I love to move every day now. So, but the election challenge, yeah, I'm a political person, and yeah, I just felt not that that was going to change or do anything, but it was just kind of like, this is a big date, and if I can, you know, show that I'm going to go vote, or that this is like a really good thing for us to do, then I'm going to like move until the election. It also helped relieve a lot of anxiety and stress that was um, going on at that point. And yeah.
Well, we definitely do love those challenges, and it's such a good idea to like give yourself a little reward after a month of workouts or whatever it might be. Um, you know, just to keep that up because it is hard. I mean, it does become like a part of you, but it also is like, sometimes we're just tired, so it really does help out.
That's true. And especially if you have other people doing it with you, you're kind of more motivated to be like, I'm super tired, but I know like Lauren's showing up and doing this, so I'm gonna show up and do it, even if it's like beginners. You've done something.
Right, definitely. So now today, do you do intermediate, advanced, or do you kind of switch around?
I'm trying to level up to attain. So I'm in intermediate, and then I'll do attain if there's a chair. So you can go back and see all the attain ones that I've done are pretty much with the chair. I love the chair. I know how you feel about the chair, Suzanne, but I absolutely love the beautiful chair. And I don't know if that's because I started with it with precision toning.
Okay.
So maybe it's like a comfort level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that chair.
I just want to throw the chair out the window, but
Oh my gosh.
I also am not going to do attain, so.
Well, and I think so. I still do have some problems with my wrists and hands, and I'm kind of still learning the whole weight distribution thing and not relying on certain areas of my body to hold more weight. So that's still something I'm very much in the middle of learning with the method. But I've noticed that when I do the chair, that does take some pressure off of my wrists and hands, which is
that's a good point.
Every once in a while. And it's not really from Tracy Anderson. It's my work that I do. It's very repetitive, labor intensive, and so my hands are just bad. They're not very strong.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Oh, so I'm an artist. Yeah. I do sculpture, installation work, and I've had to kind of switch it up a little bit with the pandemic because my sculptures are pretty large and immersive. And so I've had to kind of go more of like 2D work, which is my MFA is in painting. So it's not too, out of the norm for me, but I've had to kind of go to, smaller works and a little bit more kind of in apartment friendly way of working.
I will never forget like seeing you for the first time that you were working out at a storage place, and I was like, what is happening here? Like, is she moving and she just really needs to work out, or what is going on? So learning that it was part of your work and having space for that made a lot of sense.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I could be moving. You never know. We're up and out of every place we are at. So yeah, yeah, that was my studio at the time.
So it was just so interesting and eye-catching. It kept my attention. So Kristen, we really have found a lot of inspiration in your posting and in your challenges, and of course in everything that you have achieved. Who in the Tamily has inspired you?
Oh my goodness. I know we all say this, but like every single one of you. I mean, I like feel so lucky to be a part of this community, and I mean that like in the most sincere way. Like the connections that I've made, and I'm not typically like, I guess I've never been really a part of a community before, and so I don't have an understanding of what that feels like, or I haven't before. And so to be a part of something where there are so many incredible women who are like supporting each other and loving each other and showing kindness and encouraging, it's unlike anything that I've ever experienced. It's weird, but in a good way, like in a really good way. But I mean, so yeah, every single person, I'm seriously like blown away by it.
Well, we all feel the same way about you, and honestly, I think this community is just different than other communities anyway. I mean, I'm not sure that there is anything else like it. At least, I've certainly never experienced anything like it before either.
It's crazy. I mean, can you imagine though, like if everybody was like this, how the world would be? It would be just so lovely, right?
Right. A lot more healthy and balanced. Have you ever met Tracy?
No. And that's it's so funny. I don't know if I mean, it would be, oh, gosh, I don't know. Like, if I passed her, I wouldn't say anything. Like, if I passed her on the street, I'd just be like, oh, look, there's Tracy Anderson. Like, I wouldn't, I'm not the kind of person that would, like, go up and be like, hi. I'm too shy. So, I mean, it would be an amazing opportunity, but I wouldn't be initiating it. Somebody had to like throw me in front and be like, hey, Tracy, this girl loves you. Like,
well, a lot of us wouldn't mind doing that. So we'd be happy to throw you at Tracy. Have you ever been to a studio?
No, I haven't. I kind of thought like last year, one of my goals was at my 1-year Tamiversary, maybe going down to the studio, because it's 5 hours from here, and we go to New York quite a bit, or we were going to New York quite a bit before everything. But then the studio shut down, and we all know what happened. So, but I think I would be a little intimidated, because it's just the studio. It's amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah. That would be an amazing opportunity. But it's something like I would want to like push myself to do. Does that make sense? Like I would want to be like, you're brave, you can do it.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And my husband he would make me. Sometimes he has to make me do things I don't want to do. He knows they're good for me.
Right.
But he has to give me that little push.
Well, if we do a Tamily meetup in New York, you can definitely be there.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Totally.
I can't wait for things like that to happen again. It'll be so nice.
Yeah, I can't wait either. It's just unbelievable that it's, more than a year without traveling.
I know.
So we have another question in the chat from Rita. She wants you to speak about what kept you motivated at the beginning of your TAM journey.
The beginning. Well, I think it was honestly just finding something I really loved. Like I feel like the hardest part is beginning. I think once you get going and you kind of start connecting, it I don't feel like I have to have a lot of motivation anymore. But I do think it's like that first, just maybe you're a bit overwhelmed with everything. Like I didn't start with ankle weights. I didn't start with a mat. Like I started with a towel and no mirror, just me and the computer basically. So I didn't, and I think that was good for me because I didn't want to overwhelm myself with everything. Like you have to buy this mat, or you have to have the weights to begin with. You have to have the heat and humidity. Like these are all things that I think like you start collecting along the way, kind of like leggings too. But it's something like you don't want to go into it thinking you have to have all of these things and get totally overwhelmed and make it a stressful thing. Like it needs to be like you're coming here to connect with yourself. You're coming here for your physical, your mental health, not. And so I think any benefit you get out of that kind of helps motivate you to the next one. And it's really, like I said, it's helped my anxiety levels so much. And so that's kind of why it's so important for me to like show up. And I haven't really had like a lack of motivation since I started. And I think it's just because I love it so much. And my body like wants to move in this way, even if I have like a rest day, or I think I had like maybe 2 or 3 rest days in December around the holidays. And it felt weird. It felt strange. Like it didn't feel good. Like maybe the one day, but then the second day I was kind of antsy, and then the third day I was like, something's not right. Get back to it. So I think just, start out with what you have, connect with each other. Like I think that's also really motivating, is when we like find people that maybe are in a place where we want to go, or in a place we are now, or both, like finding all kinds of people you can connect with. And I think that was hard for me at first, to kind of really allow myself to be vulnerable in that way, to connect with other people. Like I still feel like, am I really a part of the Tamily? Like what? Really? So it's been, I don't know, I think that can be motivating too, though, is to find people who inspire you in some way, or that you can kind of share your journey with. That helps.
Yeah, I always like worry that there's people like watching the Tamily and thinking like, oh, I wish I could be part of that. And they don't need to wish. They can just comment or send a message and jump in. Like there's no, you have to wait, or you have to post videos of your workout. Like there aren't any rules. You can just connect and you're part of it.
Right. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. What kind of challenges have you faced in doing the method?
So let's see. There are quite a few. I'll talk about kind of the non-personal challenges, because we've had so many moves and upheavals and craziness that, I mean, I kind of, for my 2-year Tamiversary, I'm thinking about doing a post with like all the different spaces I've tammed just in the 2 years.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot. Like, I think it would be a lot. I think the biggest challenge was my ankle injury in July. I had been doing I started dance cardio last March, and I didn't like it at first. But I knew, since I couldn't use the treadmill in the gym, that it was going to be like an easy thing to put on weight with the pandemic. So I was like, okay, this is the time to try out dance cardio, like be open-minded, enjoy it, have fun. and I'm a terrible, horrible dancer, but I have learned to enjoy it and love it. That had been doing that for, okay, so March, April, about 3.5 months, and it gave me such an endorphin release, like running did, that I always kind of thought, oh my gosh, what if I get injured? Like, what if I can't do this? How am I gonna feel this good? That was really tough. And I don't really know if I sprained or I broke it. I'm not sure because I was too scared to even go to the doctor at that point with just the state of the world.
Yeah.
And I had sprained my ankle a long time, so I kind of knew how to take care of that. Mm-hmm. But I ended up doing arms on the mat. Like I would get on my knees and I would just do like the arms. And then I found I think I did the Perfect Design series. I just modified a lot. And I couldn't do DC, obviously, but I felt like it was important to kind of keep some level of routine for me, which is working out and moving. So I just had to kind of modify, and took a way longer than I thought it would to kind of get back to DC. And I didn't really get to my full level until December. So it's been, almost 3 months of getting back into that. But that was really hard. I think physically to be kind of like you're mentally there, but physically you're having to stop and take a break and allow your body to heal. And I didn't want to.
Yeah, that is definitely very, very frustrating. And especially because most of the time the answer is rest if you have an injury, and it's so difficult that the modifying or doing like a workout that has the chair instead is so much better than, just like to not work out for 3 months or something. Just not possible.
And I could see within the month of not doing DC that my legs were starting to change, not in a good way. And I was feeling really, really discouraged, that I couldn't do that. And I could see my body changing. And that's when I started, I modified for a while, and then I got into a tame with the chair. And for some reason, the chair, it didn't bother me too much with my ankle either. It actually, I feel like it really strengthened it. All of the standing moves with the chair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of getting it stronger again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have another question in the chat. It's just very hard to read these questions when people put them in the question block. Was it like replacing walking with DC, and do you have a favorite dance cardio? That's also from Lauren.
Okay. No, it wasn't. So I started dance cardio. I tried it out before March. I wasn't consistent with it. Mm-hmm. And I was still running. So I went from walking to running, and then when COVID hit and the gym shut down, then I went to DC. Mm-hmm. I would compare it a little bit to the running, but only in that endorphin release that happens, towards the end. And that's just so important for me and my mental health. But it's also just I feel like I've shared a couple only in stories. I may have posted one because I look like some person on the street tripping on acid. I really do. It's not something people can unsee.
You're so funny.
So it's grown on me, and I talked to Lauren about this. When I first started, when I didn't really like it so much, just kind of that struggle and getting past that. But okay, so let's see what. I really like the 12 days of cardio. Mm-hmm. I love Tracy's that day one of that. Okay. I love any of Lashana's DC, like
Yeah.
I love her. I think she's just so incredible. And then I like the March Catapult. I don't see. I'm like starting now to get more serious about DC, where I'm like learning the names of the dances or some of them, or like, so I really like Mallory's, and I can't name the dance, but she does a catalyst for this month. That one I'm working on. Maybe one day I'll share it, but it's like I'm a slow learner with these dances. Like, I mean, here we are a year from my start at DC, and I'm just now like looking at the actual, like really getting into the actual dances. It was more of jumping and burning calories and flailing around, just literally what I do. But yeah, so I like those. And yeah, I'm just now kind of getting a little bit more serious about learning the dances.
So what is your routine around it? How often do you do dance cardio?
I do it about 6 days a week. And like I said, it's so much more for like my mental health. I mean, there are physical benefits, of course, but it's like a happy pill. It really is for me. And I went through years of like anxiety meds, and like this just does it for me naturally. That's probably way too much information for everybody wanted to know that, but
there are many people that will be very thankful that you were honest, open, and are in the same place.
You know, it's I do start my day with dance cardio, and I feel like if I don't, like something's just off with me. I'm just not as happy. I'm not as excited, or I don't have as much energy either. But when I start my day with DC, and I have to kind of split my workouts up during the day. So I can't,
Okay.
yeah, I don't typically do them all in one time, just for lack of time. But yeah, I start my day with DC, and that just seems to really just kind of get my endorphins released and my energy up, and just like excited for the day and happier.
We have another question about dance cardio in the chat. What is your process with dance cardio? Do you have any tips for learning? Like, do you preview it? Do you maybe do the moves with feet only? How do you approach it?
I just go in and look like a crazy person doing it.
That's the most fun way to be.
I don't want to, I tend to like overthink things and overanalyze. And when I start doing that with the dances, it just takes the fun out of it for me. So I feel like if I just kind of put my, Asics on, my shoes on, and play some good music, it'll drown out the crazy. I mean, I'm embarrassed when my husband comes in and I'm like doing it, and I'm just like, ugh.
I'm sure you look better than he would look doing it. So
Probably.
Why is your workout important to you in particular, Kristen?
Oh goodness. I think it just so like I said with dance cardio, it's kind of like my happy pill in the morning. Like it makes me feel really good. It makes me feel excited. And then like my muscular structure work, that just seems to kind of calm me, and like I'm just more present and connected. It's very different than the DC and kind of emotionally how I feel after. And so I think having both of those things where, you do get that endorphin release and those feel good vibes or energy. And then also being able to kind of like combine that with being settled and calm and present and there for your family or for your job or for whatever you need to be. It's definitely important for me for those reasons. And then just also just being a healthier person. Like I mean, I feel so much better when I move and feel so much healthier.
What is something that you've learned from Tracy?
Oh my goodness. so much. And like, I'm still learning. And I think that's the thing. Like, she asks us every week, you know, I still feel like a TAM newbie, you know, like, because every week we're new to the content. We're like always learning. We're always kind of beginning in some way, no matter what level you're on, you're beginning a new class. And she asks us to kind of continually learn and to continually be open. And I think that that is like huge. It's one of the really like beautiful things about the method is just that we're constantly engaging and growing and learning. So that and I think also what she said recently. Let's see, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago where she was talking about um, how you burn calories will affect the design of your body, and she talks about that a lot, right? I think that's something that I had to that I didn't completely trust her at first with that. I had to learn the hard way. So like I said, I went from walking to like running, and then I ran from like I think it was August of 2019 to March of 2020, and I did intermediate class plus 60 minutes on the treadmill of running, and like my body was not changing, and if it was, it wasn't really the way I wanted it to be changing. But I thought, it's calories burned. Like I'm still burning the same amount. Like what's that gonna do, right? So yeah, like I said, learn the hard way. And then when I started DC, it was just like a month later, I was just like, what's happening? Like she's right. Like I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tracy, if you ever see this. Like I'm sorry I doubted you. Like you're a genius. Like it's true.
Yeah.
But
and
and
it's all in there.
I think it's also like really important to, if you enjoy something so much, like I enjoyed running so much, and I don't know if it wasn't for the pandemic, if I ever would have been in a place where I would have stopped and tried DC for like and be consistent with it. So I enjoyed it so much, and I don't want to take that away from anyone if they do enjoy an activity and they're fine with what their body looks like. Keep doing that. If it helps you, like keep doing that. I wasn't ready to hear it, and I think and that's okay. Everybody has their own personal journey, and like I said, this whole thing has been such a process for me where things have been integrated kind of slowly, and I didn't start right off the bat with everything you had to have and do DC. Like it's been such a just like transition after transition and progress. So
yeah, and it's about how you're doing it and what serves you at the time. And people who've done it for a decade are going to have a lot of leggings and a space and all that kind of stuff. But those things I think can help us to keep doing it every day for years and years. But I hate it when new people think like, oh, well, I don't have all the things that you need, so I can't start yet. And really just press play in whatever you're wearing and do 5 minutes. Like, don't make yourself think that you have to have a leggings collection and a heater and a humidifier.
It'll come, but you don't have to have it right after that.
You will figure out what you want to spend every single extra cent that you have on.
Right.
We have another question from Rita. She wants to know how you schedule the different parts of your workout through the day. I think you said you do start with DC in the morning.
Yeah. So I start with DC, and then I'll do some of my artwork and take care of my son. We'll do kind of like he's not like school age yet, but we do like a little school stuff. And then it's usually lunch, and I'll do some work while he's eating. And then I don't usually get to muscular structure until maybe 2:33-ish. And then that's when I do that, and then dinner and all of that. So it's kind of, I found that for me, I'm the kind of person that has to have like a routine, or I start to feel very just out of sorts. So it's been very important to kind of like schedule that in. And if it's the weekend, I might lump everything together, just so I can be with my family more. But during the weekdays, that's pretty much what I do.
What is something that you can do today that you could not do before the method?
Goodness. There are so many things. One thing though that I think I may overshare quite a bit whenever we do this is the back bend thing with the chair. I'm like in amazement that my body is capable of doing that. Like I watch it back and I'm like, what? Is that me? Like, am I really doing that? That one is just I don't know. It blows my mind. I could never have done that. Not in a million years. But I could barely walk up a flight of stairs. I mean, I would be like drenched in sweat and just feel like I was gonna throw up. I can do those things now without feeling like I'm gonna cry. Or someone like seeing me being like, do I need to call 911? Are you okay? Like,
right. It's all just cardiovascular health improvement.
Yeah.
What is a TAM move that you used to hate that you now love?
So I love the like high planks.
Okay.
But I don't like the low planks. And I still don't really like those. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't like that I love, but maybe I didn't love the high planking. But I still don't really like just planks in general. They're like, maybe I need to figure out like maybe I'm doing something wrong with them. Again, I think we're always kind of like learning and unlocking things as we go, right? So I noticed, and this is probably like super embarrassing to admit, but 2 weeks ago, I was doing like an ab move and I was like, oh wait, that's like what I'm supposed to feel. I've been doing it wrong for 2 years. So I think like as you go, like you unlock, and especially the point where I came from, being so inactive, like there are a lot of parts on my body that need to wake up still. And so that was just like a wake up moment, like, okay, you know, this is how we do this move. And I think even in this week's intermediate class, when Courtney is doing the breakdown, I've been doing kickstands. I don't know if you've watched that yet, but I've been doing that, and I had no idea like that I was doing it or that I shouldn't be doing it. And so I've tried because I always go into it with like blind, and I'll do the first class where I don't watch the breakdown, and then I'll watch the breakdown and then try again. So after that kind of epiphany and wow, I'm doing a lot of things wrong. I tried it again and I was like, wow, like these little things make a huge difference. Like a really big difference.
Yeah, like just the way that you face your toes can make a complete different change in what muscles are being used. And it's just unbelievable. But you know, that's something that I love about Tracy's method. Like to me, it's not that you were doing it wrong for 2 years, but that's the place that you were then. And you connecting that in your mind without someone telling you, like, well, you didn't engage the right part of your abs or something for this. Like, you know, I mean, I've heard about people saying, like, engage your abs for decades before Tracy, and I'm like, I don't even know what that really means. Like, I would much rather connect to it internally and realize that your whole body is involved in every move that you do. It is not like, oh, it's so hard to lift my leg. It's if your whole body is in it, it's actually a lot easier. Like having that kind of evolution of thought is what is really amazing to me with this, and that she gets us to do it just with ourselves, not from being told.
Right. Yeah. It's so much about that.
So how do you feel immediately following a workout?
So it depends. Like with DC, I usually kind of have a little bit more energy. I'm excited, happier. And then like the muscular structure work, I feel more like connected, calmer, just more present.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
a good way.
yeah.
What would you say is the most important thing to you in balancing in your life?
I think this is an area where like I need help with. Like I don't, I do need help with balancing things. I've gotten better, but it's still hard. I've kind of always had an all or nothing personality, which is I think why I gained so much weight to begin with. Like it was just like let's go for it, and I really did go for it, and I achieved it. And then kind of I lived like that for a really long time, and I think kind of then going the opposite way, and like really taking care of myself. I don't know. I think I'm still learning that balance, and what works for me. I don't know if anyone has advice on that. I'm totally open for people like telling me how to maintain balance. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. I think we all need that help, but I just like to look at everything else other people have to balance and think, okay, please I've got these four main things. It's probably not as complicated as other lives.
Right. Yeah.
What are you most proud of personally?
I think I think one of the things is just like even doing something like this, like it's something I never would have done. I don't even think I would have done it a year ago. I don't even know if I would have done it 6 months ago. Um, I think opening up can be difficult and being vulnerable. And I think a lot about how Tracy talks about having, in the opening ceremony with your arms and that being like a vulnerable position for us. That was so painful for me when I first started. I remember even when I did that one in January, just feeling like this and just so much pain, and not physical pain, but just like this emotional pain that to be that vulnerable, it takes um, it takes courage and it takes bravery. It's not easy to do, and so I think when I do like a before, and I never say after, and Lauren knows this, like it's before and during, like because we're all kind of like works in progress. Like I don't ever look at myself as a before and after. It's like before and during, or because we all have our own journeys and our own paths, and our bodies are always going to be changing in some way. They're not going to stay one way. We'll always have changes. So I'm getting off what I was trying to say.
But
Get it
the
back.
before and during is such a good point. Because I remember I used to think like, why would people keep doing this? Like once you get your body to whatever point, like aren't you done? Like there's no way people really like working out every day. But it's about so much more than that, and there isn't a finish line. Like it's not okay, once I lose this number of pounds, then I go to working out twice a week or something. It's, about life and the long haul and the journey. So I agree with you. Now I'm not going to say before and after either.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so funny because like when I try not to post them a lot because, I mean, I think so much of this journey has been like a weight loss journey for me, but it's also, there's so much more that you can't see, like the changes that I've made. You can't see them, and you have to kind of know me before I even started this to even be able to kind of see that. But um, yeah, I when someone writes like um, I don't know. I guess there are ways you can take certain words that people will comment or write or message you because it's a vulnerable thing to kind of post something like that. but then also I'm like, I shouldn't feel shame for sharing where I was at a certain point. I mean, I was still a person. My worth is still the same. Maybe I didn't see it then, and I didn't, but I still matter.
Right. And I think that's like, you know, even if it gets that message through to one person, that really helps with, you know, being willing to be vulnerable and share like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but it's been it's been like therapy. I think this whole account has been kind of like therapy, and I don't like write too much or share a lot of those things, but the therapy is like the workouts. Like it's the DC, it's the muscular structure. Like it's really therapy for me.
So, when did you first post to Instagram, and was it a video?
My first post, I did stories, and then I think my first post was like June of 2019, where I posted my first precision toning workout. And those are so fun to like go back and look at. And it wasn't, I think, you know, a lot of people don't film their workouts, but I had been, I guess where I was like a weight loss account, I had always taken pictures of like my walks or like me on the stair climber or like what I'm eating. So it was like totally normal for me at that point to record me working out, which I think, you know, people have to be, I wasn't even comfortable with myself at that point to like be putting that out there, but I also felt safe in the space I was in. And I think that makes a big difference if you feel like safe to share these things and not like you're going to be judged or like ridiculed in some way. So I think it's important to feel safe to share something like that. But it just felt natural to the whole process and evolution of my account just to film this. And I look back and I'm just kind of, I mean, sometimes it is embarrassing how bad like my form was. But I mean, like, you know, we're all learning and we're all growing. And even now my form's not, you know, I'm still working on those things and I'll forever be working on them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. There's no, you're here and now you're good and you can just, you know, cruise control your way through.
Yeah. What is the meaning of your Instagram handle?
So it's just kind of a reference to like January, New Year's resolutions, and not just being like the month of January, but like every other month. I've considered like changing it. It changed a lot before. It's been this for a while, but it's been a lot of different names along the way.
Well, I think it's been this one maybe as long as I've following you, and I for so long thought your name was January, and I thought, what a cool name. And then I'm like, Kristen. No, that's
January. You can call me January. It's fine. I'll answer to it.
Well, I like the message with it too, that, you know, it is about the whole year and the rest of your life, not just New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, definitely.
What else would you like to share with the Tamily while you have this audience?
Oh goodness. Let's see. I don't know. I guess if I were to say anything, it would just be, and I think I already said it, but how amazing this community is and this space, and how inclusive and accepting everyone is, and like I think also like I am the type of person where I want to like give back in some way, and I don't always know exactly how. And I think that's one of the reasons maybe I share like the before and during posts, because maybe someone who hasn't seen it will see it and be like, okay. And plus, I think when I started out, like, I did search a lot for TAM results, and I wanted to see someone that was at kind of where I was starting from, and maybe see where they got to or where they were going. And I didn't always find like someone maybe that was had as much to work on, I'll say. You know, it was maybe like they've lost 10 or 12 pounds or something. And I had way more to lose. Even when I started Tracy Anderson method, I was still at a point where I like had a lot to lose left. And I think I would just say like reach out, like you can send me a DM. I'm always like happy to. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. I'm learning. I'm very much a work in progress. But if I can share my experience and that helps someone in some way, even if they don't respond to me, then I think that's maybe why I share, because it did help me for so long to see different people post and kind of share what they were going through. And you know, like I used to even do, oh my goodness, when I first started, I would do like video diaries, and I don't really even want to ever watch those. But you know, and it was deleted, thank goodness, after you know a few hours of embarrassing myself. But no, like I'm here seriously for anyone that needs like encouragement or support. I want to give back, and I don't know exactly how to do that, but I want to. And
Well, I think you do it just honestly by posting and by being vulnerable and by being, like, you know, in an interview like this. Because I think, like, for people to, you know, break into being part of a like daily workout community, you know, I think a lot of the time people look at it from the outside and think like, well, that's not really for me. I won't be part of it. I don't look like them. I think people think, you know, people who do Tracy have looked like that their whole lives. And there's a lot of people that do this method that look really amazing, but they did not all start out that way, or, you know, weren't happy with where they were. But to know that there's a lot of achievement and a lot of that come from it, it's not like, oh, well, that won't work for me yet because I don't look the way that those, you know, women who've been doing the method for years every day look. I think it's just like letting people know it's really for normal people that have weight struggles and anxiety struggles and all of those other kind of things. Like, it's not exclusive.
I know, and I think that's hard when you're beginning, because especially like when you're so new to Tamily and you start like friend or like following all of these people, you're like, oh my gosh, like it can be overwhelming to see kind of where they are, and some of them have been doing it for 10 years. So I mean, how is it good for anyone to compare yourself from a beginner level to someone who's been doing it for so long? And I have to remind myself, like when I'm looking at other people's posts, like they've been doing it forever. Like you've been doing it for 2 years. Like, hold up, you know, we'll get there, but we all need to grow at our own pace. Right. And I think that's very well said, Suzanne.
We do have one more question for you in the chat. And we probably have to answer it quickly because I think we only have 60 seconds.
Okay.
Nicole said you are phenomenal. Did you go to art school?
I did.
Tell us about it.
Oh gosh. So I went to Yale School of Art in Connecticut and was there for 2 years. And I went in as a painting candidate, and I came out more of sculpture installation. It was another amazing experience. I kind of wish I was the person I am now then. I think I would be so much more open to so many more things. I was so in such a miserable place with myself then. I don't want to get cut off right when I say that and end it on like I was miserable, but
no, it should give me a counter and it hasn't yet, so we should.
Okay. Okay. No, it was a great experience. It was super challenging, and I did a lot of growth, but I was only focused on my work then, and like I said about the balance, like it was only work. My health went way out the window. That was probably like the highest point of my weight, because it was just all school, all all focusing on my work, and I just let really everything get way out of hand physically.
Well, it's definitely a good lesson to learn that you have to keep yourself as a priority no matter what is going on.
No, it's true. And I think like I talked a little bit about self worth. Like I don't think I've had that a lot. Like I don't think I felt I was worthy of a lot of things. And that's still something I'm like working on. It doesn't just happen. Like these things that you've struggled with like your entire life,
Right.
it doesn't just automatically go away.
Right.
Because you're exercising.
Yeah.
Like there's other work that has to be done.
Exactly. Exactly. That's true. But we're all here to support each other. And Kristen, thank you so much for your openness and inspiration. And I'm shocked that we still haven't been cut off yet, but I'm glad that we were able to have a really fun hour getting to know you.
Thank you, Suzanne. I
Thanks
love you
for
all.
being episode 140. Bye. Bye.